Well, we're going to explain a little bit about my Hawaiian mission, the tapes that I made out there. I want to thank Brett for working out all the details of doing this and making the disc that we're going to make out of it. And I hope that you enjoy it. I'll try to explain what's going on when the film starts. When I was on my mission, I was getting $35 a month for my mission, and I saved enough to buy a movie camera. So that's what you're going to see is on my mission. This is we were a member of the church in Hilo, Hawaii. This Hilo is the second largest city in the Hawaiian Islands, and one of the members of the church in Hilo had an airplane. He gave us a ride over the city. This is looking down at the Hilo Harbor. Hilo is quite a large city. It has a lot of rain, so most of the houses have tin roofs. In fact, in one 24-hour period, we had 19 inches of rain in Hilo. Hilo is on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's a lot bigger than Oahu. Oahu is the main island, and that's where the Honolulu is on Oahu. Then the next island south is Molokai, and then Hilo is the one that's farther south in the Hawaiian chain. And we just went up and flew over Hilo. This is the Black Sands of Kalapana outside of Hilo. They have these signs around telling where special interest spots are. This is they used to raise a lot of sugar cane in the islands. I don't think they do anymore, but we were out helping them harvest the sugar cane. There's me cutting the sugar cane. They cut the sugar cane, and then now this is showing the inter-island boat. A sister was leaving Hilo, going home. That's why she's wearing all the leis. Those are all real flower leis. And whenever we transferred from one island to the other, we always traveled by boat. We never did fly. You'd leave one island at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening on these boats. They're actually freighters carrying merchandise back and forth, but they carried a few passengers. So we'd leave an island at night, and by the next morning we'd be on the next island. This is down at the Chinese gardens in Hilo. They had beautiful flowers there, water lilies, flowers. Wherever you go in the islands, there's a lot of flowers of all kinds, and I can't tell you what they all are now. I used to know when I was down there, but these flowers and water lilies and flowers are down in the Chinese garden in Hilo. I think that's bougainvillea flowers. This is a park down in the middle of Hilo, in middle of town. They have a lot of parks, and everything's green no matter where you go anyway, but the parks are kept up nice. Those are tea leaves. and swans. These are the planes that dignitaries, this brother and sister Callis of the 12, they visited the islands. And this is Sister Callis, and Sister Cox, the wife of the mission president. That's her there. Brother Callis. This is what we found out in the storeroom. Thought we better empty it out and see what was in it. Look what we found. That was Elder Hilton, Elder Spear. That was quite a load that trunk held. This is out in the, we're in the by the Hilo Mission Home. Elder Beal, Elder Williams. No false bottom, they were all in there. This is the way I learned to swim, was backwards. This is coming out of church over in Hilo. Some of the members. We have thousands of Hawaiians that are members of the church in the islands. This is the typical home in Hilo. You notice the tin roofs. All of them have tin roofs because there's so much moisture. This is Brother Akiona, and north of Hilo, out working his patches. That's looking up at Mauna Kea. On Hilo, there's two big extinct volcanoes, Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. On the side of Mauna Loa is the active volcano that this is the road. I think that this is a barge that goes over to the island of Lanai. From Lanai was owned by the Hawaiian Pineapple Company, and that's all they raised over there was pineapple. They'd load the pineapple on to a barge and pull them into Honolulu. That's a dolphin, and this is loading the pineapple onto the barge that we were going to ride back to Honolulu on. That's a couple of pineapples. This is the dock there, and that's the barge, and we're just leaving Lanai now, going back to Honolulu. That's the only way you could go over to Lanai is by barge. Except the filthy rich, they had their own airplanes to going back and forth. This is a big banyan tree on the island of Hawaii. These are pineapple fields. They cut the top of the pineapple off, stick it through tar paper like you can see there, and that's the way they plant their fields. These are pineapple fields, and they're all owned by the Dole Pineapple Company. Here's a brother planting taro. Taro is what they make poi out of. And they plant it in these fields like they plant rice the same way. Then they pull it up, and they're a big, like a sugar beet. And you'll see a little later how they pound it into to make poi. This brother's pounding the taro, and pound it till it's smooth and add a little water to kind of moisten it. And that makes the poi. Poi is the main food down there, it was. And they take the poi and put it in a barrel and let it sit and ferment. It ferments. What they like is about 3 days it ferments. Gets a little bite to it, but you have to eat it too, because that's about all they have. Poi for every meal. So they just store it in these barrels until it ferments. If you don't like poi, you really go hungry down there. This is one of our missionaries in Hilo. Brother and Sister Clark there were missionaries from Idaho Falls. They came out on their mission with 3 little girls. They were real wonderful missionaries. They were good missionaries. Here they're weighing, these Hawaiian fishermen go out catching the fish, and then they're weighing it because they get paid by the pound. This is looking up a canyon above Lahaina on the island of Hawaii. This is a monument to the where the first branch of the church was organized. It's up above Hilo going up to Haleakala. It had breakfast at a Hawaiian, and then we had to go out and get some dessert. Here you see them, they cut the sugar cane like we showed you previously, and then they'd build these wooden flumes down to the sugar cane mill, and they'd run it down to the mill in these flumes. This is a bird of paradise flower. There are a lot of them down there. Here you see them load, after they cut the sugar cane, they kind of stack it up and then they load it on. He's either going to put it over by a flume or else onto railroad car. I guess this is onto railroad cars there. Then the cars take the sugar cane down to the mill. And this is just one of the flowers that are growing so profusely down there. There you see the flume as it goes down to the sugar cane mill. They're fluming sugar cane down. That's one of the Hawaiian sisters. And I don't know what that is. But we were allowed to swim down there those days. This is a Hilo Harbor again, looking across the harbor. This is down in that Japanese garden. It's a beautiful place. Everything's green wherever you look and colorful, lots of flowers. I think that's a bougainvillea, isn't it? I should have Helen here telling you about the flowers. She's the flower lady. That's looking up at Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. Mauna Kea has snow on the year round. There's a sugar cane mill. They're situated right next to the water so they can flume the sugar cane down to them. This was an interesting experience. This is, we were out, you put nets out in the water at night, and turtles come in and get caught in them and drown. Then you go out in the morning and get them, and that's what we're doing here, is gathering turtles. I had an experience here, almost lost my life. I got caught in the undertow and was getting pulled out to sea, and Lucy Occhiona jumped in and saved me. That's Brother Occhiona and missionaries. These turtles are the ones we caught, and I've got the shells here in our home. Here's Brother Occhiona butchering it. The bottom of the shell, the bottom of a turtle is fairly soft. They cut around the edges, and then you have these big roasts, and it is delicious. They slice it up for steaks and cook roasts, and it's really good, really tasty meat. There's the hind quarters of it. We just take those turtles after we take the insides out and just leave it out in the sun, and the ants clean the shell out for you. This is a hibiscus flower. That's looking up at Mauna Kea again. Mauna Loa, the other mountain on that island, is the one where the active volcano is. Kilauea. Those are sugarcane fields that you can see. Here you see them loading the sugarcane into the flume. It carries it down to the mill. And they load these mules, take the sugar cane over to the flume, and then throw it in the flume. Sugar cane was really a big crop down there when I was there on my mission, but they tell me now they don't raise much there anymore. That Cuba has most of the sugar cane business now. They make cane sugar out of this, not beet sugar, but cane sugar. There they're dumping the load by the flume. The workers are mostly Filipinos. They bring them in, and they give them free housing. Then they get paid by the pound of the cane they cut. That's what they were doing, is weighing it there, so that each man gets paid for what he cuts. That's some of the members in Hilo. Elder Anderson. That's the daughters of the Clark couple that I told you were there. Brought their daughters with them on their mission. These pictures are over in Honolulu now to a branch conference we had at the Kalihi branch. The members of the church are real faithful people, and they're good leaders. This is out at Kona. They herd these cows. The Parker Ranch that was there at Kona on the island of Hawaii was one of the largest cattle ranches in the United States at the time. What they do is drive these cows down here, cattle, and they tie them up to the side of this small motorboat. And then they I think they put about 5 or 6 on the side, just tie their head out of the water, and then they float out to the big boat ships, and they put slings under them and lift them on up to the big boat. That's out at Kona. There you see them lifting them up onto the steamer that'll take them to the United States or wherever they take them. They don't have any slaughterhouses to have down there. This is the famous Kona coffee. They raise a lot of coffee out in Kona. And you probably all have heard of Kona coffee. This is our mission home out in Lapahoihoi on Hawaii. There you see a flume going across a canyon. Those flumes are all constructed on wooden legs. They carry the sugar cane down to the mill. This is a hole in the rock on the island of Hawaii. This is taking fertilizer out to the field. That's Brother and Sister Bailey. They were mission presidents before President Cox. That was looking down at Lapahoihoi. Lapahoihoi, our church was just up on the top of the cliff. Lapahoihoi got washed away in the tidal wave after the big earthquake that hit Alaska. They had a big tidal wave there in the islands, and it washed all the homes in our church off of Lapahoihoi. These are some falls just above Lapahoihoi. When Scott and Chris went to the islands, they went out to Lapahoihoi, and this is President Bailey, his wife, Brother Akiona. Brother Bailey and his wife were going to fly into Honolulu. None of the missionaries ever flew. We always had to go on the tramp steamers. You could go on the boat for about, I think it was about $10. You could go to the next island. This is after a Relief Society meeting, I guess. This is the May Day parade in Honolulu. On the 1st of May each year, they have the May Day celebration, celebrating King Kamehameha. It's a beautiful parade. May Day is Lay Day in Hawaii. This is Elder Taylor, pounding the drum. Brother and sister Kaya on, this is over on Kauai. And these are rice fields. They hang those rags out there to scare the birds away. The rice, as you probably know, is grown in water all the time. This is looking down at some rice fields when they're beautiful valley. These pictures, next few pictures are over on Kauai. Kauai is the island north of Oahu. After I'd been out there, I think about 6 months, they put me in charge of the Sunday school. So from then on, I just traveled from island to island visiting the Sunday schools. I wrote the lessons in Hawaiian that they used. I think this was on the 24th of July, they rigged up a covered wagon in commemoration of the 24th. Had a little celebration there. This is the Waimea River on Kauai. Brother Tam. It's Elder Taylor from Provo. Kauai is a beautiful island. Of course, they're all beautiful, but Kauai has more water than any other islands. These are pineapple fields. Like I say, they cut the tops off these pineapple and then plant them. Here you see them after some of the men go up and cut the pineapple, and then the others go in and gather them and bring them out to the road. But that top is what they plant when they replant their pineapples. They push them down through the tar paper like it showed in a previous picture. Most of these workers, like I said before, are Filipinos, and they come to the islands, and they have big cabins for them. They furnish them their food, their housing, and they have these signs around telling you points of interest. They're King Kamehameha signs. On Molokai, it's a leper settlement, and that's this one. This is looking down. You can't go down, you can't have a camera down there. You ride a mule down to the leper settlement, and can't take any pictures down there. This is a group of the missionaries. This is just looking down in one of the croplands. These pictures are on Kauai too. Brother and Sister Tam, he was the branch president there on Kauai. This is quite an unusual thing. The water comes up under those lava rocks and spouts up through the rock, up through the hole. Call it the spouting horn. There's sand dunes on Kauai. This was out at the sand dunes. It's on the west side of Kauai. They, also on Kauai, they have what they call the Grand Canyon of Kauai. It'll show it here in a minute. Barking sands. This is the landscape on Kauai. That's showing a village on Kauai. It's a beautiful island. Those are the labor camps where they put up the workers. Brother Tam again. This is sliding, slippery falls. That's one of the attractions on Kauai. I guess everybody's slid down it so many years that it's worn right smooth. This is what the Grand Canyon of Kauai. Quite spectacular to think something like that would be formed from the lava as the island was formed. Here's a train hauling sugar cane down to the mill. This was a grass hut out on Kauai. That's Diamond Head going into Honolulu now. That's a natural. This is looking at the Waikiki beach from out in the ocean. When I was there was just two big hotels on Waikiki, the Royal Hawaiian and the Moana Hotel. Now there's dozens, I guess. This aircraft carrier, the Yorktown, came in once in a while. This is Aloha Tower, where all the ships used to dock. And of course, we went out on a boat. We didn't fly like they do now. This is a show that the Kodak company puts on down at Waikiki Beach. I think every Saturday they have this show. Those skirts are made out of tea leaves. They split them and make them the hula skirt. And of course, all the leis that they all have on are fresh flower leis. This is Hilo Hattie again. She was the life of the party out there. She'd get tourists up and teach them how to do the hula. It's quite an interesting show. I guess everybody that goes to the islands goes down to Waikiki Beach and sees this show. I appreciate Brett taking the time to come and do this. He's going to make some discs for all of you. I hope you enjoy them, because he sure got a lot of equipment together to do this. I don't think I need to explain to you what's going on. There's a young fellow climbing a coconut tree, palm tree. There's date palms and there's coconut palms. That lady is wearing what they call a muumuu. Some of the dancers wear muumuus and some wear grass skirts. These are muumuus. This is Waikiki Beach. That's when I was there, and there was, like I said before, there's just two big hotels there. Now it's just one string of hotels. But people flock to the beaches. It's Waikiki Beach goes right around the island, and even beyond the Diamond Head, it just keeps going on around. There's beaches all the way around the island. These pictures were taken out at Pearl Harbor. See, I went on my mission in 1938, came home in 40, and then the Pearl Harbor Day when they got bombed was in 41, December of 41. And a lot of these ships that you see there were destroyed and blown up. But I came home in 40, and we did register for the draft in the islands before we came home. When I came home, my mother and dad came down to California and met Elder Huntsman and I and brought us home from California. We went to, I went out in 38 on the Lurline, the passenger ship, the Lurline, and I also came home back to California on the Lurline. There's Elder Elliot. He and I lived at Lapoihoi for 6 months together, and he died just about a year ago. He died, had cancer. This is more of the parade, the May Day parade. They have some beautiful floats. Those are fresh flower lace that she's got on, her and the horse. They're a real wonderful people, the Hawaiians. They're good members of the church when they join. The only problem is they have Hawaiian time, and that's about an hour after our regular time. So when they announce a meeting, they say that'll be Hawaiian time. This is the parade still. This is the Capitol in Honolulu. And this is looking up at Mauna Loa again. When you went in Honolulu, when you went to the other side of the island, you had to go up what they call the Pali. That's a cliff. It was a real high cliff. And since I was there, this is leaving one of the ports, people at the dock. Since I was there, they have dug a tunnel through from one side of Oahu to the other. This is when we left the island to come home. We're not always in order here. These pictures are back in Hilo again. She was a sister missionary, Chie Terazawa. This is down at Waikiki Beach again, the show that's put on there. The first branch of the church was organized on Maui, on the road up to Haleakala, which is a big extinct volcano. And the church grew from that little branch up on the way to Haleakala to now we have a temple, two temples there, one in Laie out on the other side of Oahu, and then they just built a temple in Kona, where, if you remember, that's where we were, where we saw them loading cattle and Kona coffee, and that's where the new temple is. Scott and Chris went through the temple there at Kona when they were down there. It's just a wonderful experience to go through the temples down there. The windows are open and usually, and the trade wind blows through the temple meeting rooms. It's just, later on here we'll have a picture of the Laie temple. This is a big passenger ship, and there's the Dole Pineapple Factory in Honolulu. They took all their pineapple from all the islands into the, that was a guide at the pineapple factory. They take all the pineapple into Honolulu to be canned. I wish I could tell you the name of all these flowers, but this picture was in the chapel in Hilo of Joseph Smith being greeted by the Lord and Son. We carried it out into the garden, took a picture of it. We had to wear hats all the time and coats. This is the harbor at Hilo again. These fishing boats go out from there fishing every day. This is downtown Hilo. These what they call sampan buses, they were just little. And that was our barber in Hilo. That's Earl Elliott again. The kids start hula real young. He didn't know he was getting in a picture. I could tell you a little bit about the leper settlement while we're seeing a meeting letting out here. We have a branch of the church down at the leper settlement, and when they pass the sacrament, most of the people, leprosy causes your digits, your knuckles on your hands is where it usually hits, and their fingers drop off, and so the deacons, as they pass the sacrament, or priests, have to put the bread on the person's tongue and then help them pour the water. It's quite a disease, and since I was there, they've found a cure, I guess, for leprosy. It used to be that once you got leprosy, there was no cure for it. So they just, when they got leprosy, they just decided that was it. But anyway, there were people in the branch there at Kalaupapa that members of the church get up and bear their testimony and say they're actually glad that they got leprosy, because that's where they heard the gospel, and they're a real wonderful, humble people. That's a cleaning out of papaya. Lots of times when we would, of course, we didn't have cars to travel from village to village, so we walked carried a phonograph that we played records on when we'd have a cottage meeting in one of the villages. We'd let the members of the church know ahead, and they'd get people together and have what we called a cottage meeting. And here they've got sugar cane coming up. I don't know what that is. Not very shapely, I'd say. This is the hospital in Hilo. That's our Barbara Gem. But anyway, Lapahoehoe, they have since closed it up. I think they have a place down in the southern states that they take care of people who still had it. The hibiscus flower again. There's so many kinds of flowers down there. These are our two lady missionaries. Kind of jumping around. We're back out at Kona now. This is the harbor at Hilo. A couple of missionaries leaving the island. We walked these roads in a lot of miles. Our shoes, when they wore out, we'd put tin can lids in to cover the holes. We did a lot of walking. Nobody had bicycles or cars there then. This is a fern forest. We just take our phonograph. It was pretty heavy, and we'd carry it. First one would carry it, then the other elder, and so we walked those roads good many miles. This is up at the Volcano House on Hawaii. That's the Volcano House, kind of the visitor center on the edge of the volcano. This is a kind of a rainforest. They call them a fern forest. This is looking down into Haleakala, or Kilauea, excuse me. This is the volcano. For the last few years, it's been bubbling over lava constantly, flowing down. These are lava flows. And it just flows down to the ocean, and eventually some growth comes into the lava, and after a few thousand years, well, then it turns into soil. That's the lava flows coming down, or did come down. You saw them getting a pig ready for luau there. They dig a pit and line it with tea leaves. Then they build a fire in there to warm the rocks that they line the pit with. Then they put the pig down in the pit and the hot rocks, cook it overnight. They put the pig down in and covered up with tea leaves. This is after one of the meetings. I think it was a general conference in Honolulu. Hilo Hattie again. We called it a sausage tree. I don't know what it is. We must have had some dignitary there again at the airport. I think that's Elder Hilton. He was from Logan. 1926 lava flow. It went down and covered a village. That's why they put the sign up. In fact, I think this is the flow that covered a Catholic church. And they put a sign up and a monument where that church was. Yeah, old Catholic church. They built that where the church was. When that lava flow comes, there's nothing stops it. This is downtown Hilo again. Elder Jones from Salt Lake. Elder Hilton. These pictures are over in Hilo at the mission home. That's the typical homes in Hilo with their tin roofs. These kids would come out and greet the boat and swim, and the passengers would throw them money. That's leaving the Hilo harbor again. I did a lot of traveling on those boats because I was kept in touch with the Sunday schools throughout all the islands. This is the coastline as we were going away. That's a sugarcane mill there. Going across to another island when we were transferred, why we'd take these boats at night, go across to another island through the night. That's looking in at the shore and seeing sugar cane factories. These pictures are taken in Honolulu now at a conference, a state conference. That's in front of the Kalihi Chapel in Honolulu. It's since been torn down and they built a great big stake center there. We used to have a member of the church was had a circus that he traveled around with. He came to Honolulu, and this particular picture here is they were making a movie down there. This is professional movie company making a picture there. I don't know the name of the film they were filming. But anyway, this fellow that had the circus came to Honolulu and put the circus on for us to raise money for the tabernacle. These statues of King Kamehameha are all over the islands. There's a railroad on Hawaii that goes part way out. And we were on that when we took these pictures down into the canyons. This is up on the ditch trail. They brought water around the island of Hawaii to water their sugar cane, and this ditch carried the water from the north part of Hawaii, the island of Hawaii, around and into the fields to water the sugar cane. And the brother that was in charge of the ditch to keep the water flowing had these mules, and he took us missionaries, what they called up on the ditch trail, on these mules he had. He was in this Bill Sproat, that's him there. He was in the church news here about a year ago, told about him, the experiences he had with missionaries over these years and how good he was to us. He liked to take us up and he'd slap those mules and make them buck. That's Elder Hilton there. His his wife still lives here in Logan. But he was killed in the war. That's cotton. They grew some cotton out in Kona on the island of Hawaii. It didn't amount to anything. They didn't have enough of it and didn't use it enough to make any money on it, so they quit. That's a brother and sister. I can't remember their name, but this is the tall and the short of the mission. Elder Jones and West and Sco. This was when we had a stake conference there in Honolulu. We all went into the conferences. That's President Cox and Elder Callis. This is out at the Hawaiian Temple in La'ie. There's a beautiful grounds. That's the one the Japanese wanted to. Some Japanese, when they bombed the islands, some of them had orders to bomb this temple. And when they flew around the east side of Oahu to bomb the temple, it was covered with clouds. They couldn't find it. There's this Japanese pilot that's brother and sister Cox. This is taking a pig out of the ground they cooked overnight in tea leaves. But anyway, this Japanese pilot, he joined the church after, and that's eating poi. He joined the church and wrote his testimony about the temple being protected from the Japanese bombers. They couldn't find it. The Lord had caused clouds to come over that part of the island and hid the temple. And you see his testimony around quite often. You probably already maybe have read it. This is what they call a hoki lau. They put nets out into the water, and then they pull the net in. Gets the fish. You've probably heard that song about the hooky, hooky, hooky long. That's what they're doing here. Pulling the net in and catching the fish in the bay. That's the old chapel in Kalihi in Honolulu. Now I think that's the end of the Hawaiian bit. You'll see Mother and Dad here and Maxine. These pictures were at a Christmas party in Downey. See you? There's Lowell. Lowell's having his 90th birthday this next week. I think John Wayne's here someplace. There's Mother and Dad, Maxine. Some of the people from Downey. Remember that party? Brett? Let's see, where's John Wayne? I'm sure all of you recognize these people. There's your couch. Oh, he was a good man. That's Steve, or that was Scott, wasn't it? That wonderful mother of mine. There's John Wayne. Yeah. I think that's Mike, isn't it? Scott?
like Jackson.
Boy, he's a mean man. All right. You people that are watching this probably recognize those kids better than I do. I'm sure you know all of these. That was looked like a good Christmas. Is that Mike? Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this short little film and understood what was going on. It means so much to me. That mission was so wonderful, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And it strengthened my testimony in the gospel, seeing those Hawaiian people and how they embraced the gospel. And it was just wonderful, and I sure appreciate making this for you, and I hope you enjoy it. And I appreciate Brett with all the work he's gone to in making this disc for you. And I hope you all appreciate what he's done for that. And I hope you enjoy the disc. And I just think of so much of my family, all of my 18 grandchildren, 18 great-grandchildren. And we've had a good, real good family relation. We've got a lot of love in our family. And I sure love all of you. And I hope you've really enjoyed this little time we've spent together. And the disc will mean a lot to you. Thank you.